Welcome to That's So Intimate,
a podcast where we explore living well through deep, curious conversations.
I'm Sarah, guide at Rad Intimacy, inviting you to remember your sacred self.
I'm Brian, a guide at Sadhana Yoga School, where we share wisdom for life.
Let's get intimate. A beautiful part of self-empowerment, I believe, is the ability to say a full yes. And today we're going to unpack the word yes. You think you know what it means, and of course you do, but let's define it and see if we can unpack it and bring up some new and interesting ideas.
When you think about yes, and like ask, what was the last thing you said yes to? Like not the smallest thing, but a medium thing in your life, or bigger than the small thing that you said yes to.
Well, I had a small thing.
What's a small thing?
Just before this episode, I needed to kind of like refresh myself, and I just stepped outside and the sun was bright, and it's nearly winter here, and yet it was just sort of gorgeous out. It was crisp but beautiful, and I was just a full yes to that, like sun on my face and the vitamin D, and it just like felt very refreshing. So that's a small one. A bigger yes, I think, is that you and I might be brewing something new for next year that we can't talk about yet, but we will, I'm sure, on the podcast next year.
Yeah, that's a big yes.
So I'm feeling like that's a big yes.
Yeah, the small yes of stepping outside for just a couple minutes makes me think, are we constantly saying yes to everything that we're doing? Like every 5 minutes, we often switch activities, or, cooking breakfast, eating breakfast, getting dressed, whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
Like, are we saying yes to all those, or?
I don't think so entirely. Like, I think some of the things are things you need to do to like keep life moving forward. And, we have sort of a role to play, like we're parents and we're getting our kids ready to go off to school. But the things that aren't required of us and we're doing, I think, are the things we're more consciously saying yes to. The other thing is you just kind of do on autopilot, right? You take a shower, you make the breakfast, you get the kid ready for school, right? Like, but I don't know. And I don't think, do we have the choice to say no? I suppose so, but it like has a lot of consequences and messes up your everyday life a little bit more chaotic,
So maybe that was a choice we said yes to before, and then like
when you had a kid.
like when you had a kid, you said yes to the kid.
Right. And then everything
and
that came with it.
all the consequences of that, we have to follow through with our yes.
Exactly. But like I didn't have to pause for 3 minutes and step outside and have the sun shine on my face. But I was like, whew, I definitely want this. This is a yes for me. So just so we're all clear, and to put a little more language around it, yes is a word of agreement, of course. It means I choose this, I'm open, or even I consent. It's an affirmation, an agreement. It might be permission or acceptance, allowance, approval.
Most of those, it seems like we're talking with somebody else when we're saying it.
Versus for ourselves.
Whereas your choice to step outside, you were talking to yourself.
Yeah. So what would we call that?
Is that a nuanced thing? Is it like different when we say yes to somebody else versus when we say, make a choice in our life and say, yes, I'm doing this?
It's like, I want this.
Because is consent really involved when you're stepping outside?
No. And I didn't say that. I listed a bunch of words. It doesn't always have to be all of those words, but it's like, here's some ways that we can use the word yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So if we're just jumping right in, I was thinking about different ways to categorize our yeses. And because some yeses are like a very clean or clear yes, kind of like stepping outside. It's just like, do you want to do it or not? There's not much other conditions involved. There's no big consequences of doing it or not doing it. It's just whether or not you want to do it. And your life is pretty much the same otherwise. So it's a very clean yes. Whereas oftentimes there's other people involved or other consequences involved. So it's like all else being equal, we might say a no, but since there are other consequences, we might say yes, right? So we can kind of categorize different yeses. Like there's a clean yes. So this is, spontaneous, grounded, we feel resourced, and we just make a clean, spontaneous yes. We might have a polite yes, we're out in public and we might say yes to avoid discomfort or conflict in that situation. Whereas if we weren't in that context, we might choose to say no. Like getting dessert, like maybe you don't want dessert, but everyone's getting dessert. So you're like, yeah, sure. Just so you don't get the comments or whatever. Or maybe somebody made this special dessert for you. So you say yes, just
Simple
polite.
polite,
It's a
right?
polite yes.
I guess that's the part we already unpacked polite a while ago, but that's the part of that polite yes that really gets me is it's not like the truth, right? And I know sometimes that's just the setting or the way life is, but be interesting if you just didn't buy into the polite yes and just were more authentic and honest with your yes.
I can see that. And I can see that more now from this context than when we had that polite conversation. I still see that mm, being polite is really considering other people. So, and that may matter to us a lot. Let's take the dessert example. Somebody spends some time. Let's say you make this amazing dessert, and you really want to share it with me, and I'm just not in the mood, or I'm not hungry, or whatever.
Yeah.
And if it didn't have meaning to you. Let's say there was something that I bought, and then I would just choose like, no, I don't really want a dessert right now. But if you made it and it's special, and you want to have this experience, I might say yes to that, having that experience with you, because there's more to the story than just me.
Yeah, I love this. And I think I want to solidify that thought a little bit more by talking about it's almost as if there's a cost benefit scale in this scenario. So if your yes is more of a mediocre yes, because you don't really feel like dessert, but the cost of saying no, for example, would really hurt the relationship or hurt the person's feelings, or, maybe they put a lot of time into it. And you're kind of more neutral and like the benefit of you saying yes, it's just you're honoring the other person and the relationship by saying yes then, which there's some value there, unless like I'm thinking of it as a scale, like a balance, unless the cost to you to say yes is so much that it would create a lot of harm or discomfort, right? And this is where almost like consent comes in. But if we're just still talking about the pie or whatever for dessert, I don't know, maybe you're lactose intolerant and it's like some dairy pie. I don't know, like it would like really set you off for days, right? And versus and they just got it from the store and they didn't make spend a lot of time on it and it was just an easy thing to be like, "No, I don't really want that." You kind of have to think of that scale a lot sometimes. And I'm not saying don't tune into yourself and figure out what's really true for you. You can know inside that you're more of a no and that's your truth, but you can also take a moment to really weigh how important in this scenario is my yes or no, and make a decision from that. And so don't misunderstand me for all the listeners. Definitely choose your safety and your wholehearted yes. But also sometimes if you're with a safe person, you can play this game of the cost benefit scale.
I mean, I think we're doing that cost benefit in most of our decisions.
Yeah.
And because the reality is, most of the time, our decisions have consequences.
Mhm.
So it's not like all else being equal, which would you want? It's like if you say yes, it's going to change things. If you say no, it's going to change things. So which scenario are you choosing? because it's going to change other things in your life, your relationships with people. It does impact things.
Yeah.
I think about, I mean, even spending time with friends, right? What would be the clearest yes of doing this for me? I mean, I like spending time hiking, so if I have opportunity to go hiking with a friend, that's a clear yes. Like, because then it's like doing something I want and seeing a friend. It's like no option,
Like
no.
our first date.
Yeah, like our first date. Yeah,
You're like, worst case, if this person is not that exciting, I still get to be out in nature hiking.
yeah,
Yep, yep. So it's like 2 good things together, and so it's easier to
yeah.
say yes. Yeah,
But if people are meeting at a place that I'm not so excited about, like would I choose to go there? No. But since they are there,
yeah,
I may choose to go because overall the result is I get to interact with some friends.
yeah.
So I don't know. I think we're doing that all the time. We're making a decision based on the context, and
It's almost as if there's a yes continuum
yeah.
where right? And it's interesting, I never thought of it that way because I always thought of it like you're grouping these yeses, and I do think there's distinguishable different types of yes, but I also think there's this continuum. There's the really, like, kind of blah yes, like, you're, like, saying yes, but it's really, like, very neutral, you'd almost rather say no, all the way up to, like, you're just sparked alive by the idea of this yes. It's, like, exciting, and maybe it calms your nervous system at the same time. It's, like, it's steady, and it's alive, and it's exciting, right? And there's this everything in between. So it makes me think, like, you'd be more toward the sparky aliveness, full body yes to the, like, hiking and with a friend. Whereas, like, going to some bar that you don't enjoy, but the friend is there is, like, further down on the meh. Like, I'm a yes because I like this person, but it's somewhere in between.
It's like, well, or maybe there's some yeses in there, like, yes, I wanna see them. Yes, I wanna have a conversation. No, I don't really wanna be in this place,
Yeah.
or no, this is not my favorite place.
Yeah.
So there might be some yeses and nos mixed in. That's like kind of the pros and cons where like
Yeah.
averaging or like totaling everything up and seeing like, yes, this is on average or like on a whole, this is net benefit from me. So this is, I'm choosing this.
Yeah. But is that like a 5 out of 10 yes versus like the hiking would be like a 9 or a 10 out of 10
Yeah.
yes? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so you can think about your favorite thing to do in the past year, and if you got the opportunity to have that day again, would you choose to do it? Yes, it'd be like, "Yes, of course, let's do
Big
it."
yes, big yes, yeah.
Big yes, because we don't even really, of course, there's gonna be some cost to that, some downsides, but we don't even really consider those
Yeah,
when it's just like the yes is just so overwhelming.
yeah. So it's interesting to think about or tease apart the yeses that are in like the 1 to 5 out of 10 category.
Mhm. They're still yeses.
Yeah.
You still have a net benefit by making those choices.
Well, I don't know that you have a benefit except that you're doing it. So those are the ones that, like, are you doing it for someone else to be polite, or you overcommit to things because plenty of people were raised to kind of say yes, right? And it's a practice to have discernment or to, it can be really difficult to say no and disappoint someone, right? So those 1 out of 5 ones could be completely external. You're doing it for someone else and not for yourself at all.
Well, aren't you doing that for yourself too? Like, so you can keep the relationship with them, or so you can keep the job, or so you can, I don't know, like, I'm thinking about going to work. Some days you might be like, yeah, 10 out of 10. This is so exciting. I want to go. We
Mhm.
got, we got a great project. Some days you might be like a 1 or a 2, like, I don't want to go. So you got a lot of no there. Like, I'm not feeling well, or I really want to do this other thing. But you also have the yes of I want to keep my job. I want to make that money.
Mm.
I want to follow through with my commitment. And on the net, it's like a one or a two yes. So you got quite a bit of yes, but then you have quite a bit of no. So the net is like just a little bit.
Mm.
Or is that not a yes? Is that something else? Going to work on a day when you don't want to go. You're still choosing to go.
I don't know. I think it is a little bit like all the things you do when you choose to have a kid. Like, it doesn't mean that you want to do all the
Ah,
doesn't mean that every day you're excited and a big yes to waking up and making the breakfast, you know?
well, so let's say taking a job, you say yes to the job. I really want this job. This job is a 9.
Mhm.
And then there's some parts of it that are maybe even you don't really want to do,
Yeah.
but it's a part of a whole package. So, how do we like, is it useful to distinguish our little no's within our big choices that we make?
Well, I think it is because you're automatically assuming if you say no to something, you lose the yes of the job. So I think that's a big fear that is a big hurdle that people have to overcome to be able to have the strength to say no, is that they think that the job would be at risk, let's say. But that's not always the case, right? You have
Well, let's say that it was, like, for the point of this thought experiment, let's say that if you say, if you don't do this, if you don't come in this week, you will lose your job.
okay,
So you say, yes, I'm going to come in.
okay.
I don't feel like it in the moment, but overall, I want to keep my job. How do we tease away that? Or, I mean, I'm just thinking that a lot
It's
of
the scale
people,
again. It's
I'm
that
just,
discernment.
I'm thinking that a lot of people are in that situation. I know I've been in that situation where there's something that I need to do for a bigger project that I don't really want to be doing this hour, like paperwork or
Mhm.
taxes or
Mhm.
keeping receipts or I don't know, like some things, having a tough conversation with someone. Like there's some things I don't enjoy, I don't really want to be doing, but I say yes because it's kind of part of a bigger picture.
Mhm.
So thinking back to the different types of yeses, we have a clean yes, we have a polite yes, we have a fear yes, right? So
That might be the fear of losing the job.
yeah,
Yes,
so if
right.
we say no, something bad will happen.
Yep.
And it is a yes, but it's a different quality of yes. And if we find ourselves in making fear yeses quite often, that's probably not a great place to be.
Mm.
We also have a hopeful yes, like maybe this will turn into what I want it to. You know, it's like we're hopeful that maybe it's not great right now, but we're hopeful, so we're saying yes to it. And then we have an exhausted yes, so we just have no energy left to say no. Like it's just we just don't have the energy, so we just say yes.
It could have been like a discussion going on and on and on, and you're like burnt out,
Yeah,
kind of, right?
yeah.
Yeah. I just want to say that your path to an answer, a yes, no, or otherwise, doesn't always have to be immediate either. It seems really important to say, slow it down. Like, really check in with yourself that the gift of being able to say, let me get back to you on that,
Mhm.
right? Like, say you're in a meeting and someone's like, can you take on this project? Like, we're so used to feeling like we have to like answer it, right? And I guess there is a lot of power in, let me think about that. I'll get back to you on Monday. Unless they're like, we need to know like today, now, like,
Mhm.
even if they need to know today, like, take 30 minutes, take an hour, like, think about, like, can I really take this on? Is this really what I want? How does my nervous system feel when I think about doing this? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think different everyone processes things at their own speed, right? Some
Yeah.
people just know right away if it's a yes, whereas some people might need to let it run. Like I'm generally tend to need to gather that scenario and let it run through my brain or system, and then it'll kind of like pop out because I'm operating on one assumption or one scenario, and then if like okay, a new thing comes in, I need to like let it iterate through my whole system.
Yeah, it can be very individual. And also, every single person has a bigger decision that you need to sit with for longer. So
Mhm.
so slowing it down just in general, if you can, unless you're like a wholehearted big yes, then say it, you know what I mean? Say yes. But when you're not totally sure, slow it down.
Yeah, I mean, I think even on the big wholehearted yeses, it's like that's just one aspect, right? That's just what we're thinking about. And when we like maybe there's a new project at work and you're just so excited about it and it's a yes, but then when you take a little moment and think like, "Oh, how's this going to impact my life? Oh, I actually have to travel overseas for a month and then I'm going to be away from my family and then like, oh, is that
The
really what I
logistic.
want?" Like
Yep.
so like you might be so excited about the project, but and have tunnel vision, and then when you think about how it impacts your whole life, it might be a little bit more nuanced of a yes. I
Hmm.
had here that like discernment is learning to wait long enough to hear which yes is speaking, right? So is it the clean yes, the polite yes, the fear yes, the hopeful yes? Like
Hmm.
which aspect is speaking? And because we all have many aspects to ourselves, our being and waiting.
But some things in your life are such a big yes that you'll figure out the logistics.
Hmm.
But that's a fair point that, like, there's going to be actions that happen after your yes that you may not have thought through. So that's fair.
Hmm.
I have a quote from James Baldwin. One must say yes to life and embrace it wherever it is found.
So saying yes to life.
Hmm. I think I it makes me think of another quote that I love because to me within that quote unsaid is something about like living boldly and with courage.
Hmm.
So Mary Oliver says, "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?"
Yeah.
It's like the invitation to that feeling of aliveness, that deep yes, that gung ho, like you get this one chance, like say yes to the things you really are really passionate about, right?
And say yes to each moment. Like we talked a little bit about getting up in the morning and doing the morning routine. And if we're just doing it as a routine and not paying attention, it's kind of like we're saying no to life. We're just saying like, let's get through this. We just got to do it as opposed to saying, yes,
Mm.
let's have breakfast. How lucky are we to have breakfast?
That's an interesting practice, like to try, is to wake up, first say yes to that alarm or whatever, right? But then, like, what can you have a big yes to right out of bed, right away? Like, what thing could you do for a couple minutes that's a big yes,
Maybe
right?
in bed before you get out of bed.
Yeah, there might be some big yeses with your own body or with the other body that might be in bed with you. There could be some of that. Yeah, anything, right? It could be like reciting poetry, a nice hot shower. It could be whatever kind of practice that you just love, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of simple ways, like, yeah, shower. A lot of people like, I love a shower. Like, it just feels so nice. And sometimes I'll just spend 2 extra minutes, just like I'll get all clean and do all my things. And then I'll just stand there for 2 extra minutes. And it's just so luxurious. Like,
Yeah.
yes, this feels so good. It
Yeah.
only takes 2 minutes,
Yeah.
but it feels so luxurious. And it's like a yes.
But
Making breakfast,
yeah.
adding in your favorite thing. Maybe you have a special jam or nice whatever you do, like or your coffee. You like take a little extra minute and make it just how you would want it. Put on music that can add in, like, yes, this is amazing. We get to have this music for 20 minutes in the morning. Having some routine with the people that you're with, greeting them. Like I wake my son up in the morning and we just look at the sunrise. It's like, how amazing is this? It's like beautiful
Yeah.
colors.
Yeah. Embracing nature and the earth is a big yes for me. So that sounds fun. I'm also thinking like we're both adults and parents and we have responsibilities and I'm sure a lot of listeners are in the same boat. And so when it feels like your life is on repeat, just a list of activities that you have to do, or you feel that's how it feels, right? Like, oh, it's a bit mundane. It's like, oh, just like checking things off the list, right? being able to say yes to things that are just things for you is a big rebellion against that monotony of completing tasks and doing things that we have to do. And everybody has those, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, these little things you're talking about, if you can do the first thing when you wake up, do a couple yeses that are nice for you before you start the day of doing things for other people or doing things you have to do or, doing things that are not big yeses for you necessarily. I mean, you are some kind of a yes to the life that you've built for yourself that you're living today, right? In somewhere along the path, you said yes to these things, and that's why you're where you are. That's why you live in the country or state or wherever that you live. It's why you are living in the apartment or house or wherever you are. It's why you go to the job or have the job that you have. It's why you have the family that, your own individual one that you've built, right? Like, and the friends and all the things around you at some point you kind of said yes to, or it's circumstantial. But yeah, like what can you say yes to that's your choice now? And then if you're going through your day and you really are unhappy, then think like, how can I change this up and say yes to something else that would make me more happy, right?
Yeah, so if we are looking at our day and it's like feels so monotonous and non-yesful, yeah, maybe we can make some changes for sure. But then I also like your point to remember that this is the life we created and we said yes to it at some point. So
hmm
remembering why we said yes and remembering that we did choose this can
But
help too.
But a yes that we committed to 10 years ago might not be a yes now. And so that's okay too, right? Like it's okay to like look back on it and feel grateful that you made that choice and still want that. Or it's okay to
Yeah.
look back and go, oh, that's who I was then.
Mhm.
Now I'm not a yes to that anymore because my values have changed. I've grown, things, whatever, right?
Mhm.
I mean, we've both gotten divorced. So at some point we were like, okay, well, it was a yes at some point, and
Mm.
then now it's not so much, right? Like so that happens and that's okay. And so
Mhm.
then you have to reassess and ask yourself, well, then what's your yes now?
Mhm.
So I like what you said too, though, is like it's a little bit of a gratitude practice or a remembering of why there was a yes, and also an honoring of if that changes. Both are true. And that's the important part that they talk about with consent, even that, like, if I consent to be like physically intimate with you today or in this moment, that doesn't mean that tomorrow or in another circumstance that that's a yes, right? So, what that tells me is that we get to choose on a moment by moment or daily basis what's a yes and no for us, and
Mhm.
there's some real agency in that, and I think that feels empowering if we remember that we have that choice. Scary sometimes too, because then it's like, oof, what if I don't say yes to this thing?
Yeah.
What if I say no? And then how is that going to change my life? But
One thing it makes me think of is it was Ray Dalio. He had a book on principles, and one of the principles was think about the second and third order consequences of our choices
mm-hmm.
or decisions, maybe he said. So if we only think about the first order consequence, I often just go to food on this. So the first order consequence of if I'm thinking about what type of food do I want the apple or do I want the potato chips?
Yep.
First order consequence, like what's going to taste good? What's the immediate response? Like, oh, okay, I'll just get the potato chips.
Yeah.
So that's like a clear yes when I think about the first order. But then if I think about how am I going to feel the next day or how is my general health going to be? Like maybe that's like fourth, fifth order consequence. Like it's like down the road. It's a consequence of what I eat today, but it's not immediate. It's like
Mhm.
second, third order consequence. If I think about that, what's my goal in life to stay healthy for as long as I can, to be able to spend time with my loved ones and do the activities that I want to do, then it might be a clear yes that I want the apple.
Yeah.
So I think the more we can zoom out and think about what's our purpose and what are our main things that we are working towards in our life, then we're going to have slightly different yeses. And that's kind of our perspective shift of okay, I have to do the laundry today. Maybe that's like, do I want to do the laundry? No. But there's consequences to that decision. So then if I think, oh, do I want my son and I to have clean clothes to wear? That's a clear yes. So then it's like, it's a clear yes to doing laundry.
And it's making me think, like, while laundry has always been something that I'm kinda like, "Ugh, again?" You know? But then I think about what yeses could I add on and do simultaneously with the laundry. So, like, put on some fun
Hmm.
music, dance around, watch a right now it's the holidays, so watch a cute little, like, rom-com Christmas movie while I fold laundry, like, sing Christmas carols. Like, I don't know, like, how do I make it, like, fun? So that's also an interesting thing you can play with, right? Like, you might be doing some of the monotonous have to do things, which don't sound exciting, if you can still sort of like focus and get them done while also adding things that are more of a bigger yes.
Hmm.
You have a delicious smoothie while you're doing something you don't love. Like some people like to do a reward system too, right? Like, oh, when I get my taxes done, that I get to do something that's a big yes for me, whatever that looks like after it's done. But also in tandem, you could, right? Like,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's I guess about seeing things in the bigger context, or and then we can make it more enjoyable or a more clear yes. Like, do I want to do laundry in a cold, dark room, or do I want to do laundry and have music on and it's nice lighting and nice? I don't know. It feels great.
mhm. I want to think about when we ask other people to answer something and, it's a type of a response that would be a yes, no, or something otherwise, right? Like, how can we make that a safe, easy thing for another person? So, like, I guess just thinking about always ask people, don't like make assumptions that, of course, like they want this thing. Like, even if it's just, we'll go back to something simple like the dessert. Like, instead of just like cutting you the piece of pie with the scoop of ice cream and just shoving it in front of your face, right? I ask, like, what is it that you want? Do you want the piece of pie? Then you say yes. Then I ask you what size, then that's a different version of a yes, right? Yes to the small size. Do you
Mhm.
want the ice cream? No, actually. Like, so anyway, at each iteration, you're giving people an opportunity and making sure that when you're asking the question, you're not putting any sort of like undue pressure. And this is all consent sort of stuff too, right? Like, it's like, how can you be the one that's making it a safe space for people to be able to answer really authentically so that yeses feel good if they're spoken to you and people aren't feeling like they're doing it out of fear or obligation.
Yeah, this is a tricky one for me. With the pie scenario, because let's say I could imagine you just ask, "Oh, there's some pie. Would you like some?" And let's just say it's a no. Like, I don't want any right now. I'd rather some later. But then if you ask that, it's kind of like you're asking in a neutral way, and then I'm answering, does my body feel like pie? Do I feel like pie? It's different than if you say, I went to this mountain and I picked these berries and I went home and I made a homemade pie and I'm just so excited to share this with you.
Yeah.
So then I would probably be a yes. So how do we tease apart my yes or my no of not really wanting pie, but yes to wanting to experience that and let you share your excitement with me? Because in my mind, it makes total sense that I would say yes to the like the fresh picked blueberry pie that was made with love and that somebody wants to share with me.
Mm. But I'm sensing a little bit of like there could be coercion in there, right? That the person telling you all these details is doing so really seeking a particular outcome,
Yeah.
pushing you to say yes. They're only seeking a yes. They're not really interested in hearing what you actually desire.
Mhm.
And so I've been in those scenarios a bunch of times. They think they're asking you, but they're really not,
Mhm.
right? Or they're pushing you. And so describing the beautiful things that they've done to make it is like pressuring you. It's a beautiful piece of art that they're presenting in a way, right? This pie that they've handmade, but it also is making you feel like there is no choice. You actually don't have a choice.
Yeah, I can see that. It also feels like a different scenario of what I'm being asked if it's just a regular pie, neutral pie that I either want or I don't want, versus if it's a homemade pie that has more meaning,
Yeah.
'cause I'm saying yes to something different or no to something different.
Mhm.
It's kind of like if do you wanna go for a hike? Maybe no, but do you wanna go to hike on your favorite mountain with your favorite people and also there's a picnic?
Yeah.
That's a yes.
Yeah, so as the person offering the thing that people can answer yes, no, or otherwise to, how do you could be excited about the thing and you want to tell details but how do you also make it as the person offering again safe enough to
Mhm.
to reject it
Yeah.
and not I guess that's what I'm saying is that sounds like the person offering might need to do some personal work to be not so tied to the outcome of receiving the yes.
That makes so much sense, right? They need to be fine with a no.
Yes.
At the same time, it's also important for them to communicate what they really are asking,
Yeah.
right? Because it is different to say, "Would you like some regular old boring pie?" versus, "Would you
Well,
like the most amazing pie in the world?"
what if you said
Either way
absolutely?
is fine.
What if you say at the beginning, "There's no pressure, but I'm excited to tell you the details about the pie," for
Yeah.
example, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I went on this grand adventure and I found wild blueberries and I wasn't expecting it. And I used this container to collect them. I don't know what, they're excited about the journey of the
Mhm.
result of the pie, but they want you to know that there is in no way pressure. I mean, sometimes people say that and they don't mean it, but you know, if you
Yeah.
mean it,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to coerce you or influence you in any particular way, but I'm just excited about the story of how this pie came to be.
Yeah. The one thing I worry about not trying to coerce someone is that if you hold back the information about how amazing this pie really is,
Yeah.
then they're more likely to say no, right? Whereas if you present it as amazing as it is, then they have the opportunity to choose.
This is making me think because I was a sex educator. I mean, I guess I still am, but I don't do that work as much. And like it almost makes me think, people say yes and no and otherwise to all different types of physical intimacy, right? All different
Mhm.
types of sex. But what you're talking about is, like, describing all the aspects of, like, what's in this pie. It's making me think, like, should people be coming with, like, a sex resume? It's like, "Just so you know what you're saying yes or no to,
Well, it's
here's all the experience I've had," and people look at that in sometimes a negative way, "Oh, you've had experience," but, like, maybe that would win you over, like
I mean, it's the same thing there, right? Do you want to make out? It's like, is it just gonna be the average make out? Like, I'm not necessarily in the mood for that, but is it gonna be the most amazing thing and the best thing I'll remember it for years? Yes, I'll say yes to that. It's kind of it
but how do
is.
you know it's not an inflated ego
Well,
versus, like, a real thing, right?
clearly we don't know. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, the same thing with the pie. Like,
Yeah.
maybe that's really important and amazing to you, but maybe it doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
I just care how it tastes, you
Right.
know? So it depends on our values and it does depend, but I think in clearly presenting what you're asking and describing that in detail, it can be a vulnerable thing too, like with your example with the example of the pie, it's like it can be a vulnerable thing to say like, "This is a really special thing I wanna share with you,"
Mm. Mhm.
and you can say yes or no. It's kind of like
Mm,
it's vulnerable to put ourselves out there and to say, this is important to me. But it's also important to do that
mhm,
because if you don't, then I don't have full information to make that decision. And the same thing with sex or intimacy, right? Putting it out there to what's the real meaning or what we're really asking.
mhm. What am I really saying yes to?
Yeah. I mean, most of the time we can't really know because we can't know the future, right? We can't know the pie. Like
Yeah.
it could be that there's some, I don't know, it didn't turn out that well
Right, right.
and it doesn't taste good, even though it has this amazing story in it. Technically, it's this amazing pie, but it just doesn't taste good. It's like, oh, then we're both like,
That
oh,
happens with sex too. Wah, wah.
yeah, right.
I was really excited about this. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
But
We don't
yeah,
know the future. So we can say yes to something and we kind of have to detach from the outcome in a
right,
little bit because we can't control it.
right.
Like, but the more information we have, probably the better going into something. Although I think about like parenthood or like if we knew what was involved with it, like maybe less people would say yes.
Yep.
Starting a big project or starting a company, like if you knew what was really involved,
Yeah.
like the massive time and challenge, probably like, or of any project, like you look at all the construction projects going on in the cities, right? If they knew what it was really going to cost in terms of like everything goes over budget over time. And that's almost a good thing because if we knew what it was really going to take before, we would say no.
Mm.
But because we have that kind of ignorance or innocence of how we expect a project to go, it's not too big, so we're able to say yes.
I think oftentimes when we're a big yes to something that we, like you're saying, really don't know all the difficulty with, I think that's built in a way for a reason, right?
Mhm.
Like you're using all that energy of excitement, of that big yes, of aliveness to power you forward toward the thing that you do actually want, even though there's going to be
Mhm.
roadblocks and bumps and, it could be an arduous journey. But I think there's a lot of good energy there to move something forward. It makes me think, like, do you have a good story of how it felt when somebody gave you a big yes that you wanted to receive a yes for? Because there's something about that too, right? Like, you don't wanna coerce and you don't wanna influence people too much, but sometimes when you're really excited about something and someone else that you're hoping will say yes says yes, that's, like, a really good feeling.
I mean, the thing that pops into my head is every time we get together, it's like, yes, she wants to do this. Like, it feels so good.
Yeah. Aw. Yes, you get to keep choosing each other every day kinda
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah, that's interesting dynamic in relationships. Like, how many times are we saying yes? Like, sometimes, like with marriage, it seems like you say yes, a big yes when you get
At the
married.
beginning, yeah.
And then the other yeses are kind of just like part of that decision that you already made.
Like
Whereas if
parenthood a little bit.
yeah, on that same line. Whereas if you're before that, or when you're just dating someone, the decision is each day. Like, do I want to meet
Mm,
up with this person this week
mhm,
or not? And you're actively saying, yes, let's meet up again
mhm.
each time. And it almost feels a little better to actively say yes each day.
'Cause then I think there's less risk that you, like, take the other person for granted. Because it's like
Hmm.
the big yes at the beginning, and then, like, somehow it feels like you're saddled with the rest of the things that maybe you didn't wanna say yes to versus, like, I get I have more agency in the day-to-day and how I wanna be with this person, yeah. It's interesting. It makes me wanna come back to the synonyms for yes that we mentioned at the beginning, like affirmation. That's a big one, affirmation, like affirming someone, like even in just in conversation when you're in agreement
Hmm.
with someone. that can feel good to hear a yes from someone, like, "Yes, like, I'm in agreement. Yes," that sort of thing.
Yes, I understand what you're going through or why you're feeling that way based on what's happening,
Mhm.
validating.
It creates, like, a bond when you feel seen and heard and someone's like, "Yes, I get it." Right? "I'm right there with you," kinda thing.
So that's a great it does feel good, I think, probably for most of us. So it's a
Mm,
great gift we can give people is to try to understand and have that little extra conversation with someone to really get it, to understand them, to say, "Yes, that makes total sense.
mhm,
I understand what you're going through. That must be feel so good that that happened, or this must be really tough for you."
mm. And that's, like, feelings, and you can't make a yes or no out of someone's feelings, but, like, say if someone has an opinion, "Oh, this thing politically or this thing happening at work, this is my opinion," and you're in agreement with it, that can feel more validating because it's like your thoughts are being validated, right?
Hmm.
It feels good to have your feelings validated too, but those are, like, subjective, and you can't really say no to someone's feelings, right? Because it's just
Not to say no, but I was thinking like you can say honestly, "Yes, I understand why you're feeling this way.
right, right.
It makes sense."
Mhm. But also having your views on something, maybe
Mhm.
your values or your opinions affirmed also feels
Mhm.
good. Huh. How much do you think you need to have self-trust be an aspect of a yes?
So self-trust, that makes me think and that you value or yeah, you trust your own intuitive yes or no
Mm,
more than the collective or more
the
than the
situation.
situation, the others, like well, the stronger we are in knowing and listening to ourselves and trusting that,
Mhm.
the more we'll be able to have our authentic yes. We've all said yes to things others are doing, even if we're like, because it's just what others are doing, right?
Mm,
It's like, we're not sure, like, which it could be something like which way to go to a certain, which way to drive, right? And you
yeah.
just like, oh, I'll just follow you because you know the area, even though you might Google Maps might tell you a better way. You just like you're not sure. Like, is there a dirt road that I'm not sure of?
Yeah, yeah.
So we have a little bit of hesitancy in that knowing. So I agree. The more we can know ourselves and the trust in our own knowing, we're gonna get better yeses and lead our own individual life more.
And I think for, like, the moderate to large questions,
Mm-hmm.
right? The bigger ones in our life, taking time to check in, to ask yourself again, if you can say, "I'll get back to you on that," right? Like, give yourself some time. So asking, "Do I want this? Do I want this now? Or could I say yes to it later? No now, yes later. Do I want this in this context, in this place, with this person?" Whatever the other factors are to consider, right? And I guess I would just say, like, doing that check-in and always knowing that sometimes if it's a no now, it doesn't mean it's a no tomorrow or in a year or whenever. Like, sometimes opportunities come and maybe they won't come back, but sometimes you could just say yes next year when it's a better time for you, or you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, sit with your yes, listen to yourself, and try not to make too many decisions out of fear.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, we were talking about family a couple weeks ago, and while no and boundaries are very important, sometimes I've been trying to play with some family members that I have more challenges with, what can I say yes to,
Mm-hmm.
right? What feels comfortable enough? Like, what's just like maybe dipping my toe in rather than fully jumping in the pond? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So just have this, like, practice of checking with how how you feel about a decision, really.
And I'm thinking that sometimes we may feel like there's only one path. So we might want to get to the destination, so we might feel like we have to say yes to this step.
Mhm.
Let's say it's in an intimate relationship. Let's say we might feel like we have to say yes to kissing somebody because it's like the society's timing, and we think there's expectation and this is the step along that
Mm.
path.
Mhm.
And we like this person and we see maybe it could go somewhere. And so we think that that's the only path. So we think we might have to say yes
Mm.
because this is one of the steps. But the reality is you can say no and then you can take another path and go at different timing. Like maybe you say you do the kiss next week or next month, or maybe you say, I just don't feel great in this environment. Let's go
Yeah.
to a different place. And that would feel like a yes to me. There's
Mm.
many different paths to get to where we want to go. So sometimes we'll make a decision. We think we're like have this tunnel vision and think this is the only way. And if I don't say yes to this, then I'm saying no to that. And that's
Yeah.
not the case.
And we future trip a
Yeah,
lot,
we
right?
future
Like,
trip. Like if I need to say yes because this is the only way to get to where I
yeah,
want to go. But if we step back, m- we can see like there are so many ways to get where you want to go. You don't have to say yes in this situation. If you're kind of
yeah.
like a no, you can say no and then just like reorient and say what do I want to say yes to get to that path. There's more than one way.
It's making me think of I've had clients and friends in the past year who are trying to make decisions about their kids' school,
Mhm.
right? And these kids are young, like 4. And this has happened with multiple people who all have kids that are like, about to go into kindergarten or are like getting to that step. And so they're thinking about where their kid would start kindergarten. And then they like future, like it's not just about this one school for this 1 year, or maybe not even, right? Like you could always change schools at any point, but they're going all the way to high school and what their career will be like.
It's the
And
next 15 years.
I'm like, whoa, like, no wonder it's hard for you to make a decision because, like, why don't you just figure out what feels most like a yes for the next 6 months? And, like, just that's it. Right. And in truth, it doesn't work out for the first month. Change schools. I mean, I don't know. Like, right. It's really not the end of the world.
So that's shifting from like really making a decision in your head, in your mind, and like logically
Yeah.
versus more somatically, like in your body. What is it feeling like?
They're
And
getting
then,
anxiety about the future,
yeah.
probably.
So
Right.
are we like in this yes, maybe you feel like your mind is saying that you need to make this yes because that's the path you see to get where you want to go in 15 years for your kid
Yeah.
versus how are you feeling in your body? Maybe that feels really stressful right now. Maybe it's a big financial burden because you have to pay for this private school, or maybe it's a long drive, so you're going to just be in the car all the time, or maybe your kid just wants to be with his neighbor friend and play in the yard.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like zooming out can be great because then we see the large context, but also zooming in and just being where you're at and listening to your intuitive knowing of your body and then like trusting in that a little bit. I think
Hmm.
both are great to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see people with their kids, like people ask me all the time, what's my son gonna do in 2 years? Because this school he's in goes up to 8th grade. Like, I
Hmm.
haven't really thought about it.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like enjoying the next, I guess it's 2.5 years, right? Like it's a long time to make a decision. I don't know who he's gonna be, what he's gonna want, or
Yeah.
what's gonna be best for him, or what my life's gonna be like then. Like
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want to I don't want to preclude any options, but I also don't want to feel like I have to know the answer and be locked into one option.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting to think how much preparatory work in some cases that we do to get to a yes too, right? Like all the maybe research that went into these different schools. Maybe they went on tours. Maybe, I mean, look at your sister. She did so much work for her kids to figure out what school, right? There's these applications that, it's just wow, right? To be able to say one yes to one school,
Mhm.
right? I mean, I guess that's true with relationships too, right? There's a lot of like maybe yes for now or maybe no until you finally get to like the bigger yes, like, ooh, I want to like build something with this person. I want to see this person a lot. I'm excited about this person, right? So I guess a lot of the big things in our life are more often multi-step yeses and nos to kind of get to the bigger yes, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of preparation.
It's interesting in relationship because sometimes people want a long-term relationship. So then let's say we have the decision. Do you want to be in a relationship with this person and everything is going great and it's super great and you're going to be in a relationship with them for 2 more months?
Mm,
And the other scenario is you're going to be in this relationship with this person for the next 20 years, right?
mm,
Would you say yes? It's the same person. Those next 2 months are going to be the same. But one scenario, you have another 20 years with them. And one scenario, you part ways after 2 months.
mm,
And this next 2 months are going to be amazing.
mm,
Would you choose, which would you say yes to both of them? Or would you say, some people would only say yes to the long term
mm.
because that's what they want. And some people might only say yes to the shorter term option because that's what they want.
I mean, your yeses often are aligned with what your values are. I mean, sometimes not, right? There's the polite yes, the fear yes, but I think sometimes there's a fear yes in relationship because you're like afraid to lose the love or whatever, right? I think that's been one of my biggest like learning curves in life is how to have like a good, less codependent relationship of love and be less tied to the outcome and like less afraid of losing it. But if you do have a good experience with the person you care about, can be scary,
Hmm.
right? So it's so really getting curious with yourself again, right? Like the why behind the yes or no is interesting.
So, yeah, when we talk about fear yes, I kind of have a negative connotation with that. Like, oh, fear yes is not, it's not a great thing. But in most situations, if we're saying a fear yes, that's still the best scenario. We're still saying yes versus no in that scenario, and we feel like overall more comfortable with that decision. But I'm thinking if we're finding ourselves making fear yeses most of the time, what can we do? Like that's not the best scenario. Ideally, we would be making like clean yeses.
Hmm.
But like if we're making a fear yes, I don't think the alternative is to just say no, you know. It's like
Depends on why
that's
you're
not
afraid,
necessarily
though.
better, right?
But why are you afraid? That's
Yeah.
the big thing because then you're getting into the scary like are you at risk of being harmed?
Mhm.
Which is why you're saying yes and you're being forced to do something with your body that you don't want to so it can
Yeah.
get into like full on talking about rape or something versus just I'm afraid to lose this like an emotional state of fear versus more like really afraid for my safety. Like those are different fear things versus I'm afraid how this person will respond. So
Or I'm
I don't
afraid
know,
to
like
lose my job.
unpacking.
Let's say I'm afraid to lose my job, or I'm afraid to that I
Right.
won't be able to make payments on my house, or what I'm thinking is that if we're finding ourselves making fear yeses regularly, what can we do to shift out of fear yeses to like clean yeses? And
Mm,
the more we can ground, the more we can create safety in our whole system, in our life, and be in safe situations, and build a support network, and like thinking about the job, like, okay, well, how can we feel more safe? Like maybe we're just continually saying yes to this job out of fear that we won't get another job or that we won't have money. We can save money, limit your expenses, kind of like build a safety net. Maybe you have family that if you were really in a tough situation, you could live with them for a little bit, or, it can create a safety net where that fear is less because you feel more grounded and safe.
mhm.
And then you might have a more clean yes as to or a no as to whether or not you have this job.
But if it's real existential fear, that can be like hard to overcome.
Oh
And
yeah.
it might take some of the legwork like you're talking about to get to a place where it doesn't feel like everything will fall apart and I will die if this doesn't work out or something.
And then in relationship, if we're, let's say we're just afraid of losing this person, we're not actually getting physically harmed and we're not in danger, but
Mm,
emotionally we have fear of losing this person.
mhm,
That's not a great place to be making decisions from either. Like, I'm doing this because I'm afraid I'm going to lose you. No, like, we
mhm,
want to do this because we want to do this. Right. So then it's like, how can we feel more secure in that relationship and have conversations about that?
mhm.
Because it's going to bring up like our like challenges that we have in our life. Like, I'm afraid of abandonment, and that's like a big wound. And
Mhm,
I want to share that with you, and let's talk through it. And like recognizing it, that that's just like some baggage that I'm bringing. It doesn't actually have to do with the situation necessarily. And then how can I have other relationships, friends, family, coworkers, where if this one relationship with this one person does end, it doesn't feel like the end of the world. Life goes on, right? So then the consequence of that relationship ending doesn't feel so bad. I still go to work, I still wake up, I still meet with friends.
yeah.
Yes, it's hard. I wish that relationship continued, but it's not devastating because we've built up the other aspect of our life.
It's making me think how much of our experience from infancy of attachment and then of like yeses and nos that we witnessed in our family of origin, in our culture, and with just like our conditioning, how much we it's like maybe rote that we just like say yes or no to things, yeah, based on that influence, and how much even just talking with you today and unpacking the word yes is like, how much have you even thought about that, right? Like, is it really a yes that you want? And how often do you think about that versus a yes like your mom would have wanted because that's how you originally learned how to say yes and no? Like, so there's a lot to it, right? I think.
There's so much to it. Just giving ourselves permission to say yes or no is a huge thing.
In our own way, even, right?
Yeah.
Authentically for us, after checking in with our body, with our values, like, right? Versus doing it because this is what's expected or this is what we know, or out of fear of abandonment because, we didn't have a very attuned, upbringing where people made us feel safe in that way. Yeah. What else would you like to give an example of a big yes that was kind of easy for you to say yes to?
Well, I don't know if it's a big yes, like a big decision, but I have a big yes. Like, on Sunday, had just a great day. So we walked up to a pond and went ice skating on it, and then came back, had lunch, and then I went and played pickleball with my son. And then we had some friends over for a nice dinner, right? It's like ideal day. So it's like a big yes, like, yes.
Mm,
It's like my favorite things to do all in one day with some of my favorite people. It's just a clear yes. Nothing about that is a no.
yeah,
I guess as I think the only aspect of a no is like the opportunity cost of, well, I have some projects around the house that I kind of want to
right.
get done. So,
Are you avoiding anything by saying yes to all the fun,
well,
you know?
not that I feel like I'm avoiding, but it's like that's the only possible reason I could think of saying no to that,
Yeah,
because maybe there's something else that I would want to do. But the priority of having that amazing day is way higher than getting things done in the timely manner. I wanted to loop back to what you were saying about family dynamics and feeling like we maybe have to say yes, and seeing other alternatives. And because the holidays are coming up, so we may feel like kind of obligated or in the pattern of saying yes to a certain gathering or getting a gift or whatever traditions we have. And just like letting people know that you can say no to anything that you want to. And then it's not like you're saying no to seeing these people, to seeing your family entirely, but maybe you're saying no to seeing them in that way. And then just get creative and what would feel good to interact with this person or these people. What would feel good? Maybe it doesn't feel good to be at their house all day, but maybe it would feel good to be there for 2 hours. Or maybe it would feel even better to do something in a neutral location where there's other people around. Maybe we wanna go snow tubing, and that would be a great activity. And that would be like a yes, but being in, let's say, this other family member's house, and then you're there for 2 hours and there's nobody else there. Maybe that doesn't feel good, right? So I'm just, like, suggesting that we can step back and think, well, what do we want? Like, okay, we want to see these people, and then what would feel the best? What's the best way to interact with them? What would feel the best? Because it's not all or nothing. We
Yeah.
have choices in what we say yes to. What about you? What is your clear yes?
I have a little thing to say about that, which, if I was eloquent, would be my answer. But a wise yes doesn't rush. I think that, like, that's why I said, let me get back to you on that, is such a powerful
Mm,
phrase, right? So a wise yes doesn't rush, it listens. It includes the body, the heart, and the long view, which is, to your point, thinking about the other consequences, second, third, and so on.
mm-hmm.
So the inquiring before saying yes, it isn't pushing you for an answer. It allows one to be revealed.
I like that. I would say I, t- my perception of myself is that I tend to take longer to process a yes or a no than a lot of people. Like, I'm kinda like a slower decision maker.
Mm,
So I resonate with that a lot. Like, yeah, take some time and then settle in. So then in that taking the time, that can also be its own challenge, right? Because sometimes there's a decision that is time-based. So let's say getting tickets to an event, right?
yep.
Or every February, or not every February, but a lot of Februaries, I go on a ski vacation with my brother and his family. And sometimes I'll put off that decision because I'm not sure if it's going to work into my schedule this year.
Yeah.
Right. And at some point, the hotel gets booked.
Sure.
Right. So it's like, can put off that decision a little bit. But if we,
But then it's fear based. Then it's FOMO a
well,
little bit, right?
whatever it is, right? It's like, but it can be a slippery slope to give ourselves time to make a decision, because sometimes in taking that time, the decision is made
Yeah.
either a yes or a no, right?
Well,
Um, a
I think there's two things here. There's one that's like you're putting it off and you're not really doing the work of inquiring with yourself, sitting with yourself, asking the right questions and making a decision. You're just letting it dangle and drag on. And sometimes this inquiry can be like 2 minutes. It doesn't
Mhm,
have to be some huge long thing. Like,
mhm.
you want the concert tickets, you're like, "Okay, can I afford it financially? Does it fit with my values? Will it be exciting for my kids and I to go to the concert? What about paying for parking? Like, I don't know, do I have to
Does it
take time off of work?" Like, so,
Yeah.
and then, like, after considering all those things, but will they remember it forever? Okay, that might be worth it. Let me just sit for a minute quietly after I've kind of thought about all those factors. Oh, and then it doesn't have to be some super long thing, but I also think there's an energy suck to I'm letting this decision about the ski trip
Mhm,
drag on, and it's in the back of my brain like, "Oh, I haven't decided on that yet." Sometimes it's because you're avoiding.
mhm. Yeah, so how do we know the difference, right? Because
Yeah.
I
You're intensely
agree.
making effort
I
for now.
agree. It's great to give yourself some time to make decisions, but I know that for myself, sometimes I give myself too much time. And then that's kind of like
Yeah.
a challenge. And how do we know how much time to give ourselves? And one of the fears that I have is that the situation will change. Like, let's say I know what I know now. I mean, I already booked it. It's all set. But like, let's say 3 months ago,
Mm.
I could have booked it. I guess my fear was that something else, some new information would come up,
Mhm.
like another opportunity, or that would then make it a no, right? So it's like
Sure.
I wait
Yeah.
until time passes because then I know more like what the scenario is going to be. And maybe that's just has to do with just like letting go of the consequences, right? Like we can't know everything.
No.
We can't know how it's going to turn out. What does it feel like now?
Yep. Mm. And I think thinking about how will I feel during the ski trip? How will I feel after? Do I think it's something that I will remember for years to come? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's also thinking about how important it is to you and your value system,
Hmm.
too, whether you say yes, regardless of what comes up. Because, yeah, some fun, cool thing might come up, but it might not really align as well with what matters to you, you know? So, I don't know. Last things to say about yes? Just yes, yes, yes.
I think it's helpful to have an attitude of recognizing that the things we're doing, we're saying yes to, and owning that, and then
Mm.
finding the joy in that and say, yes, this is the life I've created.
And if you don't find joy in it, then maybe
Yeah,
reconsider what you're saying yes to.
make some
Yeah.
course corrections, right?
Yep.
But begrudgingly doing things is not helpful,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Because you did say yes to this. You're doing it. Just own it
Yeah.
and
Find the joy,
make
find
the
the,
best
yeah.
of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you like, I think it's great to make changes in our life for sure. Like we all are trying to make our life better, and that's great. But if we only look externally to create the best scenario in our life and then we're going to be happy, that's not going to happen, right? We need like the only way to be happier is to shift our perspective. Like we can't make the perfect situation. We can only have the perfect perception of how like this is amazing life that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So recognizing that we are saying yes to this and remembering why, and then saying yes every moment. Like being in the present moment is a huge thing.
Yeah.
And saying yes to the moment is part of being in the present moment. When we're not present, basically we're saying like, no, I don't want this. I wish things were different.
So strive to have your life be a hell yes.
Yes. Every moment, just say
Right?
yes. Yes,
A
this
hell
moment.
yeah.
Yes, this moment. In the good times, right? Yes, I'm enjoying this food. Yes, I'm enjoying this conversation with someone. Yes, I'm excited to go to work.
Yep.
But then also in the challenging times, yes, I am growing when I'm going through this sadness for this loss. Or yes, I'm
Yep.
experiencing this grief. Or yes, I'm experiencing this frustration. Saying yes to it all.
Thanks for tuning in to That's So Intimate. If this episode sparked something for you, hit subscribe and share it with someone you care about. We're growing this beautiful community, one conversation at a time.
Got a word or topic you want us to explore? Send us an email or find us on Instagram. We love hearing from you. We'll be back next week with more connection, curiosity, and intimate conversation.